Okay, so today we are going to talk on the topic importance of value engineering industry. So I'll be presenting on to the topic importance of value engineering in industry. So this is the discussion outline. So these are the topics that we are going to see today. So we are going to see the basics of value engineering and what are all the phases of value engineering, and what is the process that we follow for value engineering, and then what are all the sectors that this value engineering is been associated, and then we are also going to see the importance of value engineering in various sectors, in various fields. So these 5 parts we are going to see today as a part of this seminar on the topic importance of value engineering in industry. So let us talk about what is value engineering. This value engineering, it is an just a sec. Okay, so let us talk about
Hello? Should I mute you? Oh, I can mute you. I can mute you.
just a sec. Okay. Okay. So we're going to see the introduction of value engineering. So value engineering, it is an organized effort which has been directed at analyzing the various features of the product or process, whatever you're going to take. So here this value engineering, here we are going to analyze what are the features of the particular product, what we are going to take, or the system, what we are going to take, or the machines or the equipments, what we are going to take, or even the material selection. So it is going to deal with various verticals basically. And so here the main objective is to achieve the necessary function of the product or a process or a service or a machines or a equipments or any material, whatever it is. So the basic here is the value engineering should meet the necessary function for the particular process or a product or anything, whatever you are going to deal at the lowest life cycle cost. Life cycle cost is nothing but the overall cost which is necessary for any product or any process to be manufactured or to be uh, carried out. So this involves all the costs like labor cost, material cost, and then overhead expenses. So you are going to sum up all the cost and you are going to ensure that the life cycle cost is going to be as low as possible, so that the customer can buy the service or a process or a product at affordable price. Uh, so here, when you're dealing with value engineering, you should ensure that the performance, quality, reliability, and safety is not going to get compromised. So you're going to have the value engineering without affecting or without any compromise on the performance, quality, reliability, and safety. So this value engineering, I can define it is an organized effort. When I say organized effort, it's a team members effort in a company. So you have various department in our company basically. So like you have design, development, testing, purchase, supplier quality, and marketing. You have purchase team. You have, and then you have sourcing team. You also have the the business development team. So it is an organized effort of all the team members, uh, and looking at the features and other aspects. So here you are going to follow DMAIC approach. First, you are going to define the requirements, and you are going to measure the requirements. You are going to analyze the requirements, improve the requirements, and control the requirements. When I say requirements, you have to understand the requirements related to the features, related to um, the thing what you are going to deal. It can be the system or machines or equipment or material, whatever it is. So that's why I put as a requirement. So you are going to have the specific requirement, and those specific requirement, what you are going to deal, would also meet the performance, quality, reliability, and safety. So this is the basics or the definition I can say for a value engineering. Um, when I say value is defined as a ratio between function by cost. The function in the previous slide I was talking about the functions, and even I was talking about life cycle cost, I think the cost. So this value is defined as a ratio between the function to that of the cost. So what is function? Function is nothing but the properties and qualities of the product. That's what I was mentioning as a requirement. Okay, so the requirement should meet all the expected parameters, which is nothing but expected properties, and then the expected quality of the particular product. It's not only product, even it can also be applied to a process as well, manufacturing application. And again, the cost is nothing but the life cycle cost, which is nothing but the money value, what you're going to give for your material, direct material or indirect material, or even the labor cost. It can be direct labor or indirect labor, overhead expenses, and all the cost that is required for you to carry out a particular product. So when I say value is nothing but what the product you are going to give or a process you are going to give, which is going to be much useful to the customer, and the customer could be able to feel the worth of it. The customer should not feel, or the client should not feel the cost of the product. They should feel the worth of the product. There is a difference between worth and cost. So when I say cost, it is the cost that is required for the overall manufacturing or overall uh, cost that is required to meet the requirement. So when I say worth is nothing but the least minimum cost to achieve the requirement, the least minimum cost to achieve the property, the least minimum cost to achieve the quality, or the least minimum cost to achieve the function, the least minimum cost to achieve the reliability, durability, or the quality, or the performance, safety. So, so the customer should feel the worth of the product or the process rather than the cost of the product. So that is where the value comes into picture. And it's that's why even any company what you are going to have, they always try to reduce the cost. When I say reduce, it's not that they just reduce the cost, they are going to optimize the cost. When they optimize the cost, they are also ensuring that worth is being given to the customer, uh, not the cost. Okay, it can be applicable to any product. So when you're buying the laptop, or when you're buying the any electronic items, or even when you're buying a big apartment kind of thing. So the customer or a client should find the worth of the particular service what you're going to take, or the requirements what you're going to take from the particular company or from the particular organization. So that is very important. That's where this value engineering comes into picture.
Bhagishni, can you please mute it, please?
So we have some important points of value engineering. So first one is going to be the function identification. So I told the function is the main criteria. So as value is defined as a ratio between function by cost. So first thing is the requirement identification is very much important with respect to the product or service. Next one is you have to establish the worth. What is the worth you are going to give to the customer? So you have to establish the worth for that particular requirement. So I will use the different terminology for function because it will make you to understand, right? So when I say requirement, it is also nothing but a function. Okay? So first thing you have to identify the requirement and you have to establish the worth for the requirement. Then you have to generate alternatives. Alternatives nothing but idea generation. Uh, how you can meet the requirement. It can be you can use say just I give you a simple example. I told you the life cycle cost is the summation of the labor cost or the material cost, right? So can I go for the alternate material so that the material cost can come down? Say for example, if you are using metal, can you convert the metal to plastic so that the material cost can come down? When you have the material cost down or lesser, then the overall life cycle cost is going to be lesser, which means the value is defined as the ratio between function by cost. So when you reduce the material cost, your overall life cycle cost is going to be lesser, which means the value is going to get improved. Okay, so that is one way. And when it comes to the other aspects like labor cost, okay, you have skilled labor and unskilled labor. So especially for some of the manufacturing operations, I can hire some unskilled labor and I can train them to become a skill for the particular uh, process or manufacturing. And here, uh, the cost of the labor is also going to get reduced. At the same time, the requirement is going to be met because I'm going to train the unskilled to a skilled labor so that they will not compromise on the function or the requirements. Or other way, I can also go for some outsourcing. The labor cost will also vary from place to place, region to region, and country to country. You can find the labor cost is higher in the Western countries, and it is lesser in Asian countries. So, in that way also we can compare so that how you can also reduce the labor cost. And there are a lot of idea generation you can go. That's where the creativity comes here, where you have to create ideas to ensure that you are reducing the cost, which means you are going to ensure that you are going to give the work to the requirements without affecting the quality or reliability or the norms or safety or the function of the particular product or service what you are going to deal. And finally, you are going to provide the optimal requirements. You are not going to give all the requirements. You are going to optimize the requirements or a function. Okay, so here again you have to have the only the required requirements. You don't need to have all the requirements. What is required function alone is sufficient. Okay, so for example, if you're having the bicycle, okay, you can see the bicycle having the seat at the back. Sometimes you don't have the seat at the back. Sometimes you have the kind of handlebar. Okay, so depending upon the requirements of what the customer want or what the customer client needs, even the small bicycle can be manufactured in a various ways. Okay, so first you have to understand what is the requirement. Okay, that's why and if it is not required, you no need to provide, and accordingly the cost can also come down. So these four aspects is very much important when you're dealing with any value engineering aspects. The first thing is that you have to identify or determine what is the basic function of the product what you're going to deal or any process what you're going to deal. Basic function is the one which is very much important for the particular product to perform. What is the basic function of a pencil? It make mark. Okay. What is the basic function of a motor? Motor, it transmit torque. So you need to understand what is the basic functions of any product what you're going to deal. And next, what you have to do is you have to evaluate the high cost area for the particular item. So when you take pen, you have the ink refill, you have the cap, you have the holder, you have the top holder, bottom holder. And when you take a motor, you have a rotor, stator, you have windings, coils. So these are, you have to understand what are all the various subparts into the particular item. And you have to understand what is the cost, individual cost. What is the, when you take motor, you have rotor, stator, coil, winding. You have to understand what are all the various costs for the individual part. And you also need to identify the cost from high to the low. And also you can look at, evaluate the way how you can also reduce those costs. Not just reducing the cost, how you can optimize the cost. When you optimize the cost, this you can use this technique, or the third point what I was telling. You can generate the alternatives. Okay, and you can develop the alternative ideas of resolving the problem. So here it's not just a problem; it's a kind of the problem here is to how you can increase the value. That's not a problem. That is a scope basically. If you have to resolve the scope of the work, or you have to resolve uh, the the objective basically. So what is the project objective? Those things you have to resolve by going for an alternative ideas. And then you have to see, you can come up with a lot of ideas, say 100 ideas you can come for any one product. The motor itself I can take. So you can come up with many various ideas for a rotor, stator, and the ideas can come not only with respect to the one I told, even it can be led to the design aspects, or even the supplier change. You can also change a supplier, or even the manufacturing process also, or even you can also change the location of manufacturing. You can look at various ways. You can also optimize the design. You can also go for lightweight materials. There are various ways, and you cannot take all the ideas whatever you're going to generate for further development. So you have to look for the best of the best ideas, and you have to find that particular ideas should also, it is also going to meet the function requirement, or the requirement of the part what you're going to take at the lowest cost. That's very much important. So always lowest cost is nothing but establishing the work. And this value engineering also going to present and promote the project proposal. And this also helps to simplify the process. And even say when you take manufacturing process or a manufacturing application, you have various stages. Okay, can two stage can be clubbed in one stage. So if you have visited some of the manufacturing companies, they do try to do two manufacturing process in a single stage, so that they reduce the cycle time, they increase the productivity, they reduce the manpower. And these are some of the things where you can also simplify the process. And also you can also ensure that the value is been provided to the particular process. And it can also result in increasing the reliability and the better maintenance. And the last thing is, this value engineering will also help to extend the aspects, the resource aspects. So the financial resource, or a manpower resource, and the material resource. So here you also need to optimize all these things, so that the overall life cycle cost is also going to be lesser. So when the life cycle cost is going to be lesser, then the overall value is going to be increased. So these are all the 6 phases of value engineering. You start with the information phase, then you collect the information about the thing what you're going to deal. Then you go for a function analysis, the requirement analysis using the function. And then you go for a brainstorming, idea generation. That's what I was telling. Then I told you, you cannot take all the ideas whatever you are generating, and you have to evaluate the ideas based on the internal discussion with the company team members, cross-functional team members. Different departments should also evaluate the ideas. Then they have to go for a development. So in development, you do the design, you do the testing, then you go for a small pilot production, then you go for a mass production. Then you are going to present it to the management. Then you are going to put that into the market. So it is going to have the 6 important phases when you're dealing with any value engineering proposals. So this value engineering, the next one, what you are going to see is a value engineering process. So the first one is data collection, which is nothing but the information base. Next, what you are going to do is you are going to analyze the requirements. Okay. So analysis is nothing but a function analysis, which is nothing but the requirement analysis. So you are going to analyze what is the necessary basic function or secondary function. So those things you are going to analyze. Then you are going to generate the ideas. So I told you the function of a motor is to transmit torque, the basic function. You also have the various secondary functions. So you have to generate ideas considering all the requirements. And then after generating ideas, you also need to evaluate the ideas with the help of the team members. Then you go for a development activities where you do the prototype. One example I told you, if you're converting the metal to a plastic, and after first thing you have to do is that you have to ensure that the prototype is being developed. Then the fitment trial or the initial test are been done to ensure that the failure is not going to happen. Then you go for the pulled up sample. So you have two type of sample. One is a photo sample where the sample is kind of it can come from through rapid prototyping, or it is a preliminary a sample. You can do the initial testing to ensure that the failure is not being predicted. Once there is no failure, then you can go for a pulled up sample where you can ensure that the final modification has been done with the help of that particular pulled up sample. So first you always go with a prototype. Once this prototype is been proven to ensure that this is going to meet all your requirements, then you can go with the pulled up sample. Then you can do some small minor correction in the product features. Then finally you can come up with a modified sample. Then you can finally test it once again before it is going for a mass production, or before it is going for a pilot project protection and mass production. Because see, this is very much important. When you do the prototype, after that you also need to do a lot of testing. And any company, okay, it can be automobile or aerospace, or where aerospace is very much critical, where you need to have 100% reliability. Even a small minor error will create a big problem. Same like even automobile also, and even any product. So this needs to be tested. Okay, it can be a laptop or it can be a mobile phone. So you can take Apple or or any iPhone, whatever you take. So the manufacturer, what they do is they do a lot of testing to ensure that the failure is not being predicted at the client or the customer side or end user sides. So they do a lot of various intensive testing. That's where this value engineering is also going to undergo those testing as well. That is the very important thing, because if you do testing, you can predict some failure, and accordingly some corrective action can be taken. Okay, so for example, you can take a mobile phone application. Sometimes by default or by mistake, uh, uh, the phone can get dropped itself from pocket or from hand. So when it is getting fallen with, say for example, with few meters above the ground, they do some testing how much it can withstand. Um and they also try to do some testing with by applying some load. It's not. They also do some abuse test also. And say for example, they do some testing where they increase the brightness in sunlight, and they will see how much time it can also it will not affect the end user feelings or end user requirements. So they do a lot of intention. And again, say for example, if the mobile phone is been put into the water by mistake, okay, so will the water, how long water will not enter inside the part of the mobile phone. So they do some intensive testing, even dust some of the dust application. Okay, so when the customer is using the phone at the dust area, dust environment, uh, will that affect the performance of the phone? They do like intensive testing. Any manufacturer. Similar to that, what I told for the phone is also applicable to automobile application. It's also applicable to the aerospace application, or even electronic healthcare, even healthcare equipments. Those things are also very much important. So the testing is also a very important thing that you do as a part of development activities. So this value engineering process, I told you start with the information, okay, and you should get the reliable information, and also you should get the credible information. What is reliable? Reliable is nothing but you should take the correct information from the correct person in your department or in your team. You cannot ask the cost details to a designer and design details to the cost team. So you should ask, you should know how to ask, or you should know to whom should ask to get the proper information, and uh, and you should also get the credible information. And next one is, I told you, you should identify the requirements, which is nothing but the identification of a function. Then you generate ideas, then you evaluate ideas. Then this too is very much important, where the development comes into picture, where you do the design or do the prototype, you do the development, or you do the initial testing, and then final testing. And then before you go for a final implementation, they do all the quality audit in the company. They do the process audit. They do the final quality related aspects to ensure that there is no problem with respect to the process or the line quality. And they finally they go for a implementation. When I say implementation, it is nothing but they're going for a final production. See, you can take any company, car company, Hyundai or Maruti or Tata or Mahindra. Whenever they go with this process, starting from idea generation to the development, before implementation, they will not go with 100% implementation. Say, for example, if you are taking the Hyundai Verna, just for an example, the the company which is going to manufacture the particular product will not go for 100% implementation. Um, Same, I can take an example of a Hyundai itself, Hyundai Verna or i20 I can take. So say for example, if the Hyundai company is decided to change the supplier of the tire from Apollo to MRF, okay, so that they are going to reduce the cost, okay. So before implementation, what they do is they do a trial, and say for example, same Hyundai Verna, if they are manufacturing 1 lakh vehicle in a year, they will not change the tire of Apollo to MRF immediately in all the 1 lakh vehicle. What they do is they try to do check kind of thing, like where they do 5,000 or 10,000 initially, and they will check the performance of the 10,000 in the field. And if it is found satisfactory, then they go with final 100% implementation. Otherwise, before that, they go for some 20% or 50% implementation. Then they slowly try to scale up to the 100%. Because if any issue comes, then it will also affect affect their company brand and those things. Okay. One example, simple example, what is change of tire supplier. So this can also be applicable to a supplier, not only supplier, even the design change or any material change. So this also undergo the similar process basically. Okay. So here, with respect to the understanding of the value engineering, so there is a relevance is there. So so this is the circle what you want to say, and this is what they are interested in, and the relevance is only the common area. Okay, so when I say value engineering, what is this value engineering is all about? It's and what is not is all about this value engineering. This value engineering is not about, it's not just cost cutting. I told you, if you're going to optimize the cost, not a scope reduction. You are going to ensure that scope is nothing but what requirement. It's not going to reduce the requirement, right? It is going to. It's not. Let's say value engineering is not cost cutting, or it's not a requirement reduction, or even in fact you are going to increase the quality. So it's not about reducing the quality, or you're going for a forced redesign. It's not. If your understanding is in this way, it is not. It is totally wrong. So this is not about cost cutting, or it's not about requirement reduction, or reducing the quality or forced redesign. So, and again, this value engineering is not only beneficial, but it's also very much important to improve the requirements or improve the functions, and to produce the tremendous savings, very much important. And when I say savings, it involves the initial cost and the life cycle cost. So what is initial cost? So I told you about life cycle cost, right? It involves the labor cost, material cost, maintenance cost, overhead expenses, etc. So when I say initial cost, what is the cost that is required for the initial investment? So say, for example, setting up a factory, it requires some buildings, it requires purchase of machines, equipment, and again the infrastructures. So those under comes under a part of initial, even purchase of the land itself is initial investment. So those things also is very much important. You have to look at the initial investment required or one-time investment, what you call. And you also need to provide. It also helps you to provide a second look. Okay, you can also, this value engineering will help you to provide the essential second look, which means the second path basically. And this will also help you to double check with respect to the cost estimate or the requirement statements. What is the requirement statement of requirement you call, or the scope of requirements, statement of scope what you call, and you are going to assure that best value. Okay, so always there is a gap what you want to say or what the employee is looking at and what the company is looking at. So see, the company is different and the employee is different. I can tell in another way. So you can consider this as an employee, this is an organization, and because the expectation of an organization goes on increasing in a different way, and the expectation of the employee also goes on increasing in a different way. So, but always there is a common goal that you need to identify. So that's where this value engineering essentialities comes into picture, that you need to understand. Okay, yeah, actual, there is a difference between the actual and what the company is showing basically. See, I I I I can say any startup or any companies, what they are trying to invest more is onto, they want to invest more on the cost aspects or finance aspect. Actually, they're investing 61% on the finance or cost or basically investment. And but in real time, they have to show the quality. This much quality they have to show to the clients basically. It's not the cost. Okay, the customer will not want how much cost or how much investment the company has made. When you take Tata Motors, it is not. I say for example, I'm going to buy a Tata Nano car. Um, so I, being a client or a customer, I will not worry how much investment the Tata company has invested on this Tata Nano. But what I am interested is, I am interested in the quality. The customer wants the quality. Similarly, company who is going to manufacture the nano car, the Tata company, what they have to do is they have to convert the investment into a quality for their product. Okay, so this is very much uh, challenging for any company. It can be a startup or it can be the even the big of the big, or even you can take the Google for that matter or Alphabet for that matter. They also invest some percentage of money for their uh, process or a product or service, and what they have to show to at the end is that the quality. See, I will not worry. I see, everyone, almost 99 percentage of the users are using the Google every day. Even I am also the user of Google, and everyone, you have a lot of variants in the Google, but you will not worry how much percentage of the investment the company is going to invest for you to give that particular service. What you are interested is the quality. Okay, you try to browse something or you do some surfing, and you expect the surfing should be at a higher rate, or the download time should be lesser, and the data should be much more higher. So you try to get lot of expectation, which is the requirement. Okay, so that is where the challenge also lies. Okay, and and again, Actually, with respect to other parameters, what I can say is the human resource, project, sales and marketing is quite the same, the actual and then what the company want to show. But in reality, what happens? They are not concentrating on the expected quality initially. What they're concentrating is only 10% of the quality is been concentrated by any company. Okay, because even the companies like the Alphabet, which is the Google, I can say, for your easy understanding. They initially they will not concentrate on the quality. They try to look at how much investment they can make. Okay, and then because obviously the quality is an output which is coming from investment and other process also. But any company, they try to invest more onto the investment, which is nothing but a finance, but less on the quality initial stage. I'm telling in a very theoretical way, but again, the quality is very much important. That's where uh, your customer is also required. It's also requiring those things. So you have to uh, convert. You have to ensure that how you are ensuring that this finance is being converted into a quality, or the investment is being converted to a quality. So when I say 61% plus 5% here, it is 66%. So it is nothing but the challenge here is you have to convert the cost to a quality. Okay. So that's where the value is defined as a ratio between function by cost. Cost function is nothing but quality is also a function. Okay, that's where this value engineering is very much important. And you need to understand the technique how you are going to convert the cost into the requirements, and when and how you are going to apply the value engineering. Uh, you are going to apply this value engineering for problem solving, decision analysis, and how you are going to do by using the cross-functional team members, by going for a workshop or formal job plan. And you can also go for when you can apply this value engineering when you're going for a strategic planning for your company, and you can also use the trained facilitator for that. When you're going for a new product development, how you can apply that is that using the requirement analysis study. And you can also go for a re-engineering projects. Uh, when you're applying the value engineering, you can also go for re-engineering projects where you can go for documentation and analysis. So this is when and how you can apply the value engineering for your product or a process. See, you have two terms, value engineering and value analysis. So value analysis is the one where you are applying the functions and costs for existing product. So this value engineering is the one where you are applying the value of the function and value of the cost to a new product. So since today's topic is importance of value engineering in industry, I'm not going to touch on value analysis, but I'm going to touch only on the value engineering, which is nothing but for a new product, how you are going to have uh, uh, the savings or the importance basically. So the savings from value engineering is much more higher during the start. You can see here the savings is higher when you're applying the value engineering right from the start of the process. First is the planning and analysis. Next, you go for a design, then you go for a development, then you go for a drawings, you go for a documentation, then you go for a some constructions or construction is nothing but what products. Then you go for a operations and the maintenance. So when you take the time versus cost or the various stages, so initially you have a very good savings, then the savings comes down, and this is the cost saving basically. And you also have the other side where the cost will also you also need to do some investment. So the down is the investment cost. The investment cost it also goes increased, and this is the saving cost. The upper graph is the saving cost, and down is the investment cost. So you have to invest money for each and every stages, and You also need to ensure that you're going to have the savings at each and every stages, which is nothing but a value engineering gain. These are the savings that you have uh, with respect to the value engineering. And beyond this point, you call this as a break-even point or break-even analysis, where there is no loss or no gain. Left to that is a gain, and right to that is a loss. So this analysis is very much important for any of the value engineering effort that you are going to take, and you have to ensure that you are going to apply the value engineering right from the start, right from the planning. Uh, so when you apply the value engineering at the first stage itself, you can have the very huge savings rather than you applying the value engineering at the last stage. Okay. So if you want to change the material, if you want to change the design, or if you want to reduce the weight, or if you want to change the process, material design or supplier, you do at the right start itself. Okay, don't wait for it. Okay. Then what happens? So for example, the Tata Nano, which is going to launch the vehicle at 1.5 lakh. And after launching 1.5 lakh, if you do some cost reduction and you bringing that 1.5 lakh to 1.4, yes, there is a benefit with respect to the volume point of view and cost point of view also, but it's better to bring that 1.4 right from the start of the plan itself. Okay, so that you have a huge potential for you to save as a company and to the customer also. Okay, so you also going to get saved when you do this value engineering as a company point of view, and your customer is also going to buy your product with optimized cost, so they are also going to get benefit. This value engineering is also been applied. It's not restricted to one company. It can be applied to automobile. It can be applied to financial companies, public services, hospitality, telecommunication, even real estate. Also, this can be used. Mining application, mechanical companies, healthcare companies, education sector, transport sector, construction field, chemical industries, electrical electronics, oil and gas, energy sector, agriculture. So it's almost all the areas where you can apply the value engineering. Okay, there is no restriction where this value engineering is been not used basically. So it is applied everywhere across the globe in all the industries. So that's why this value engineering importance is very much important. Uh, you being the youngsters, what you can do is that you can get placed or you can also get an opportunity in all this area. So when I say the sectors associated with value engineering, so you also have the various potential for you to explore the career in all these sectors or all these industries. You have a lot of huge opportunities with respect to the value engineering job point of view in all these areas as well. And similarly, it's not that you only have the job opportunities, even the company is also having a lot of opportunities for them to explore to reduce the cost or for them to optimize the cost. Okay, so with respect to the importance of value engineering with respect to industries, so this will also help the industries in lowering the cost, and this helps to improve the quality, and it helps to improve the resource efficiency. It also simplifies the procedures. It reduces the paperwork. It also reduces the staff costs. Procedure efficiency can be improved. It will also optimize the cost or expenditure. It also helps for developing the value attitudes in the staff. It also helps for a successful competition. It's like even the benchmark, okay. And it also helps for the improving the creativity. And finally, it also helps for some alternate ideas generation and evaluation of the ideas. So these are all the very key importance of value engineering in any company, basically. And you have the various types of value engineering plan for any of the company basically. What you have is this value engineering is related to the product. It can be related to the product, it can be related to the process, or it can be even related to purchase. That's where the supplier comes into picture, and it can also be based on the custom consumer focused. So you have the various types of value engineering plan. So which one the company is going to deal. Some company will be related to product or process or service, or related to sourcing or purchase or consumer related aspects. So you have to identify which one will be relevant to your job or to your company, and you have to do it. And there are some factors which will restrict the company to apply the value engineering. What are all the things that is restricting the value engineering for any company? So if the company is not having any rules, or if they don't have the data is nothing but information. If they do not have the information, they cannot apply the value engineering. And if they have the absence of learning, and if they don't practice value engineering, they cannot apply. So they should have the learning, and they should have some basic exercise about value engineering so that they can apply. And if they have some interruption with respect to their schedule, they cannot apply the value engineering. If there is a change in the owner's requirement, okay, if there is a change in the design requirements, or if there is a change in the product requirements, if the requirement is keeps on changing, then you cannot apply the value engineering also. And if there is any class of priorities, suppose different team members will be there, right? You have design team, development team, testing team, purchase team, quality team. Different, if the priority is different for different stakeholders, then this will also affect the value engineering project or application of applying the value engineering for the company. And you have some guidelines and practices. If you do not have the proper guidelines and practices of value engineering, then you cannot apply the value engineering in the company. So if you're having the old thoughts, or if you're having the some detrimental action, you cannot apply the value engineering in your company. And if you have the absence of culture, if the culture is not there, you cannot apply it properly. And if you have over development, if you are spending over expenditure or over which is not, development is on the higher side, which is not at all necessary. And if you have extrapolation also, you cannot apply the value engineering. And if you have less interaction, and if you are not having the good relation with your team members, even that will also affect the value engineering application, or you cannot apply the value engineering in a healthy way in your company. So what you have to follow is, what are the points I told 1 to 10, it should always should be on the reverse side. Opposite to this, you need to follow, so that you can apply the value engineering in your company by having the proper data, proper rules, proper learning and exercise. And when I say learning and exercise, it's kind of training you can also give to your employees. So in that way, you can take any companies, they give training to their employees. That's where the learning and exercise comes into picture. And they have a proper schedule. They will have proper requirements also. They will have the team coordination. They will have proper guideline, proper practices. They have a very good thought. They also have a good prosperous oriented actions they will have. And they will also have a value culture in any company. They will also look for a good proper development, optimize the development activities, and they will have good interaction and good relationship. So this, all these things they will have in such a way how that particular company can apply the value culture in their organization, and they will take it forward for increasing the value to the customer. Now let us see how this value engineering is applied to various organizations or various sector. I told this value engineering is applied in any companies, any sectors, starting from A to Z. So we have seen in all sectors. So let us take some examples how this value engineering is applied. The first one is the importance of value engineering in construction. How this value engineering is being applied in a construction application. So when you go to any locations like Hyderabad or Mumbai, so let me talk about Mumbai. So you can see, or even Delhi for a matter, you can see, especially in Mumbai areas, you can see 50-floor building or 70-floor buildings. It's quite common there. So there, what they apply the value engineering. Okay, so where they go for reducing the project cost by going for a lower cost alternatives, or the idea generation with respect to their architecture design or construction materials. such as an energy efficient options they can go. And they also go for construction methods where they are going to include the streamlined workforce, where they are going to have the proper staffing structure, and they are going to have the long-term maintenance. And this value engineering in construction, it helps to optimize their efficiency, and it also helps to understand the requirements, and try to have the buildings. It can be a commercial building or a residential building, such a way the alteration can be done without affecting the requirements, or without affecting uh, the the quality of the particular building, or the particular construction sector what they are going to take. And this will also help to increase their creativity. Will come up with various designs. Okay, so when the particular company like L&T or DLF, they're coming up with a big uh, multinational company. So they come up with a lot of new ideas. How they can have the good glass, how they can reduce the cost. Say for example, reducing the thickness of the glass, and how they can. You have various alternatives even in purchase of the glass itself. Okay, so they come up with a lot of new ideas, innovative ideas, such a way they come up with a lot of creativity, not just the idea cost reduction, to optimize the cost and resource without affecting the requirements. And this value engineering is also applicable to some hotel industries also, where they will come up with some clarity and control, and they will understand what is the requirements. And in hotels, they also try to come up with some promotional activities, where they can come up with some conceptual activities or overhauling activities, and how they can redesign um, uh, the hotel, how they can optimize the function of the hotel requirements, the structures, stereotypes, etc. Um, Say for example, the hotel industry, what they're doing is they are going to have the application of value engineering for for their projects. Say for example, if they're going to have some room, they are coming up with some new technologies and solutions, where they're going to ensure that they're going to satisfy the customer at affordable cost. um, and how they can design the AC, how they can design the room with good cot, good bed, and the television, refrigeration inside the room. How they can design it with a good glass, and how they can come up with the, other facilities like swimming pool, or some gym facilities within their the hotel and accommodation area. So how they can come up with various other infrastructures at affordable cost. So that's where this value engineering also comes there as an application there. And even the hotel industry also, they're trying to ensure that how they can save the energy. Even in that way also, they come up with some the ideas, and they try to create some new ideas to optimize the cost. And they also trying to increase the return on investment for their organization. So ROI is very much important, not only for hotels, whatever the sectors what I was mentioning. So that's where this value engineering comes into picture, where you're going to ensure that the ROI, return on investment. So when I say ROI, you are going to invest, right? So if you want to have the swimming pool, if you want to have the gym, or if you want to have the playground area, or some park area in a hotel, you are going to invest for that. You are going to invest for the land. You are going to invest for the construction of the swimming pool, or the construction of the gym, or purchase of the machines or the equipments necessary for a gym. So for all these things, you need to invest something. So it's very much important that it's not just you are investing, you are also going to get the profit out of that. So after investment, say if the hotel is investing 5 crore for all the infrastructure, at what time they're going to get that 5 crore? That is very much important. Will that going to take 1 year or 2 year? So our return on investment is very much important for any new alteration or any new project. Normally the company try to look ensure that they are going to get the profit after 1 year or 18 months. So beyond that, they will not, long term they will not look. Basically beyond 1 year itself, the company will think whether should I need to invest for that or not. Okay. This value engineering is also applicable for maintenance application and logistics applications. Any companies they have a lot of logistics maintenance aspects. So this value engineering is also helping them as well. So this value engineering is also going to use the innovation with respect to the materials or the cycles related aspects or gear aspects. So how they're going to ensure that this can be applicable to their maintenance and also logistics. It's very important. You see, this value engineering is also applicable to a software industry, a project. When you take any service industry or a consulting company, they are going to give a lot of software applications to their customers or clients. So where they also need to invest on the IT. Okay. So here they also try to optimize the IT investment cost, looking at the strategic point of view, how they can also optimize. See, you need to have the a laptop or desktop for information or for you to work in a more efficient way. How you can optimize that? Okay, and even IT is very much important. Even the data secrecy, everything comes. So how the company spend a lot of money even for the data secrecy. For that also, this value engineering is been very much important. And in any company, they try to look into it. And say, for example, if you're purchasing some application or any software, how you can purchase with lesser cost without affecting the requirements that is been defined. And this value engineering is also applicable for a material I was mentioning product. Uh, Okay, so this value engineering can be applied in each and every phases. Basically, I told you 6 important phases, but apart that 6 phases, I'm going to subdivide into 14 phases. Okay, first you are going to analyze the mission of the requirement or need. What is the need? You have to understand, analyze the requirement. Then you are going to develop the technical aspects of the requirements. Then you're going to develop the design concept to meet the requirements. Next, you are going to conduct research for the requirements. Then you're going to finalize the specification. Then you're going to do some analytical investigations. Then you're going to do the design development. So first is nothing but first you're going to get the data. Conduct research is nothing but what? Information phase. Then you're going for then function phase where you're going to understand the function. Then you're going for a creativity phase where you're going to creativity phase and the evaluation phase where you're going to investigate the better ideas. Then you're going for a development phase. And in development phase, you do the design and you also do the construction, you do the testing. That's what I told you, the prototype. And then after you go for a development with the drawings, then you go for a initial prototype, then go for a field testing, then finalize the design data, then go for a pilot production, then go for a full production. And after production, what you have to do is you have to go for maintenance and operational use related to the particular product. So it is similar to the 6 phases, but what the phase here involved is slightly the breakup in a longer way. So this phase 1 to phase 14 is nothing but the phase 1 to phase 6, what I have been mentioned. So it comes in that category, starting from information phase to function phase to creativity phase to evaluation phase, then development phase, then you're going to present. And after you present, you're going to implement it. So implementation is nothing but the manufacturing. After implementation, that will go to the customer. So thanks a lot for an opportunity.